Thank you very much. I'm Miranda Barker. I'm the Chief Executive of East Lancs Chamber of Commerce, for those of you who haven't met me before. And I just wanted to give you an update on the Peer Networks programme, um, how that worked nationally, how it worked in Lancashire, what our aims were from our two cohorts that we run through the Chamber, and what hopefully those businesses gained and what our ideas were of what they might gain, and then to give you just a heads up of the fact that it's coming soon, but there's very little detail about what might be coming in the next cohort of peer networks, as they haven't been nailed down yet, but it'll be really interesting to hear your thoughts anyway. So peer networks, peer-to-peer learning was something that the government was very, very keen on, and they had realised that there were strong positive results from previous sessions, all of all sorts of different types across the UK, where essentially businesses were coming together in small groups of sort of between 8 and 12, small enough to have a discussion and to build some trust within the groups around certain issues that they shared, problems that they shared, sectors they were working in, collective aims and objectives, and could really work together to solve problems, or to at least air those problems and share each other's different solutions and see if they could move forward together. So government initiated a programme last year as part of the whole COVID recovery raft of business to business support of peer networks all across the UK. And in fact, Lancashire were very, very successful in securing the largest number of peer networks. I think it was something like 24 across the whole of Lancashire, all delivered by different bodies, all very much focusing on different topics. Some were focusing on certain groups, so whether they be people just starting off in business, whether they be people in certain sectors, some were just female orientated. There should have been some male ones in that case, shouldn't there? And all of those groups were coming together to share their stories, to sort of air what was difficult on the journey that they were on, whether that was a personal journey while running a business, or whether that was a business to business journey. Our focus was very much around the low carbon and the manufacturing and diversification in manufacturing opportunity that we focus a lot of our attention on in East Lancashire because of the character of East Lancashire. And we had two cohorts, ably supported and very much towards the end, absolutely, totally and utterly run by Paula Gill, who you'll be hearing from in a little while. And those two groups were focusing, the first one on those businesses who were already trying to develop new low carbon technologies, either as a side product within another business that they ran in engineering or manufacturing, or as their sole sort of focus as an innovator. And the other cohort was really around those sectors which are currently being pressured by the whole COVID and in some cases Brexit difficulties. So people who are normally manufacturing in aerospace or in automotive and were finding that work wasn't particularly easy to come by at this moment, and were looking to diversify into the low carbon technology manufacturing field. And really, we wanted to work with those groups over a whole series of discussions across so between 3 and 6 months, to try and identify issues that were holding them up, difficulties, areas where they wanted to hear from outside speakers, areas where they wanted to share stories and come together and build a long-term collaborative ecosystem between them. And that really is the ultimate goal of a peer network, if it works, is that those people want to stay together as a trusted group of collaborators looking to develop products and opportunities between them. Just to give you some ideas of the sort of breadth and depth of the things those companies were involved in. Within the low carbon group, there are various ideas now bubbling up for developing of all sorts of things in the low carbon field, from waste to energy to sustainable food development, plastic waste recycling, wind turbines, all sorts of opportunities where they are looking to develop those products. And they heard from outside speakers that they identified as needs that they wanted to see brought in, such as people like Melissa Conlon from the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, also representation from CASIM, from Access to Finance. So all of the different hurdles they might have dealt with along the route of developing those products, whether that's how to get finance, whether it's how to get help with research and development on those products, and really trying to help each other along that learning path. The other group that we worked with, those who were diversifying from sectors under pressure to widen their scope of their operations and looking at opportunities in the low carbon field, they were talking between each other of opportunities connected with electric vehicles, with batteries, with recycling of certain components. And they were really starting to look at where they could partner together on pieces of those products or those manufacturing journeys, and starting to bring the components together. And as you'll see, that this really starts to map across well into the other things that you will have heard of in the last couple of days, into the Chamber Low Carbon support that we have for people developing new low carbon projects and technologies, and into the REDCAT project, where we've got capital support for helping people equip themselves to manufacture and develop those low carbon technologies. You can see that this is all starting to fit together as a broad ecosystem for helping people develop those technologies, and it becoming a core strength for Lancashire as one of our fields of business. So we're seeing those groups now starting to want to stay together. And in some cases, those technologies are now at the point where there's almost a list of component parts. They're starting to say, well, I could supply those bits. Could you supply those bits? Could you supply those bits? So we're actually building the manufacturing supply chain locally. So just to finish off, I'll just talk you through this slide again, which is part of the whole ecosystem of support. And you can see where things like peer networks fit in. So if you look at the red cog in the center, that's REDCAT, which is the element of support, the capital side, and then just above it and to the top left, Chamber Low Carbon, CLC, in that green cog. So the team you've been working with for the last couple of days, those elements are there to help provide the technology viability assessments, looking for markets. We put consultants into businesses who are developing new products to look to actually see if there are elements of redesign and evolution of the design to make it closer to a customer, finding that early customer. So then if you look down onto the purple splotches on the left-hand side, you'll see the Lancashire Circle of Life. That's part of UK Circle of Life, which is run by Paula Gill, who ran our peer networks. So she, as you can see, is working with the automotive and aerospace firms to help them look at opportunities to diversify and be supported, in that case, through those peer networks into the low carbon technologies and products development stream. And that's something where there's a lot of support, as you can see, through the whole of this ecosystem in Lancashire. So are there any questions? And as Paul is here, I don't know if we want to give any insight into future thoughts about where peer networks might go for Lancashire in the next few months.